How many of you ever feel overwhelmed or feel as though there isn't enough hours in the day to get what you need to be done all in that day? Those of you who've answered yes in your head probably suffer from stress. With most of us working while going to college, stress is bound to occur, causing some of us to cope with it differently and have different reactions. Although there are different causes of stress, the weight of this feeling can cause us to feel as though stress takes over our life. The things I have researched and want you to know about stress is the background of stress, what triggers it, and the ways to reduce and manage it. The first point I would like to talk about is what stress is and how it differs from person to person. In my study, Hans Selye said in 1936, stress was the non-specific response of the body to any demand for change. This was from the American Institute of Stress. Stress can be difficult to define, but it usually is associated with a negative connotation. There is also a good stress too. It's called eustress, which can result in increased productivity. Selye's example for good stress, he stated, winning a race or election could be just as stressful as losing or more so. A passionate kiss and contemplating what might follow is stressful, but hardly the same thing as a root canal. This is also from the American Institute of Stress. Think of how you feel when you have a huge exam coming up and you stress over getting a grade each day before the exam occurs. So you study each day in order to get ready for that exam. So you're developing a good work ethic in order to get an A on the exam that you have stressed over, which is a good example of what good stress is. Some define stress as an overbearing feeling that may occur from an unpleasant situation they encounter. However, some see stress as the reaction to physical pain, such as chest pain, heartburn, or headaches. When I feel stressed, I find myself worried about every little thing I need to do in order to get it done on time. I struggle with time management, and it makes me feel as if I'm not in control and the need to be in control, which causes more stress on myself. With stress being different for every person, it makes it difficult to find. So in order to help you understand it better, I found a roller coaster analogy from the American Institute of Stress. This analogy basically describes how when you ride a roller coaster, as a passenger, you decide whether or not to sit in the front or the back. And if you sit in the front, you're more likely to be the thrill seeker with your hands in the air, while if you sit in the middle or the back, you are more scared and probably holding on to the railing in front of you with your eyes shut. With this example, it shows that some can enjoy the ride and are unbothered, while others just can't wait to get off the ride, and this shows how stress can differ depending on the person. We also create our own stress because of the false perceptions and the feeling of having little control. Now that we know what stress is and the differences stress has on each person, we can start to understand the different possible effects of stress in certain areas people go through. Some people can be more prone to stress than others. Where you live can affect the sensitivity to stress. In my study, it showed that city living can affect the two brain regions that regulate emotion and stress. This was from the Anxiety and Depression Association of America. Being born and raised in a major urban area is associated with greater lifetime risk for anxiety and mood disorders. It was said that previous findings have shown that the risk of anxiety disorders is 21% higher for more people from the city, who also have 39% increase for mood disorders, says Jen Prusiner. This is also from the Anxiety and Depression Association of America. This statistic shows the effect of anxiety and mood disorders that fall under this stress and the major effect of what stress can cause. Events that happen in your childhood can greatly affect your sensitivity to stress. People who have experienced adversity in early life are more likely to be sensitive to stress. According to research, people who are mistreated as children typically have a higher inflammatory risk to new stressors. Now that we know what stress is and the different effects it has on different people, knowing stress can be overwhelming and hard to handle, I want to inform you of the different reactions caused by the lack of effort to deal with it properly. With this lack of coping mechanism, stress can have a physical, emotional, or behavioral reaction. With the physical reaction, I found that stress has been linked to many health problems like heart disease, high blood pressure, and depression. This is from the Psych Central. Some research had not confirmed that having a hostile or aggressive personality can directly cause cardiovascular disease, but places you with a greater risk if your heart rate or blood pressure increases in response to everyday stress. Stress can also affect your immune system, increasing your chance of becoming ill. This affecting your physical state of being stressed can cause your inner destruction to your body. Stress can also affect your emotions and your behaviors. Feeling depressed and the lack of social interaction is a common reaction to stress. It can also cause your logic to be disordered and create a sense of being overwhelmed and helpless. Lastly, I would like to share some ways to manage and reduce stress. Ways to channel or reduce stress would be to wake up earlier, exercise more often, hug somebody, unplug from your daily life and take time to yourself, and get more rest. In conclusion, after telling you about the background of stress, how it originates, and ways to reduce and manage it, stress can be different for every person. The cause can come from multiple scenarios depending on the certain person and how they cope with the overwhelming feeling. Being stressed can interfere with your productivity in a bad or good way depending on how you channel the feeling. I hope with me telling you more ways to channel the feeling in a good way will help you in the future when you feel stressed to overcome it and use it for a good thing. Thank you.